Good morning, welcome to another video with a guy and his projects. Today we are working on the 2004 Ford F-250 Super Duty 6.0 liter 4x4 in dirty blue and dirty tan. So today we are doing an oil change. This is not a how to do your oil change. This is a how I do my oil change. This may or may not reflect the way you're supposed to do it. I don't know because, well, I just don't know. So my point is, don't follow me because you think I know what I'm doing. Follow me only if you have to, or if you want to and you're willing to risk whatever the heck you might be willing to risk. So that was a very bad way of saying don't follow me, copy me at your own risk. I'm not following the manual. This is just how I change my oil. If you need to know how to change your oil, you can either follow me or look it up the right way. So this is what we're doing. I always warm up my vehicles before I do an oil change, unless of course they don't run. So this one, we just fired it up. It's a decently cool morning outside, which is nice. So I took about 10 minutes, got this warmed up to about 120 degrees. The oil is now mixed, it's been circulating, all that. In addition to that, yesterday we just drove this thing 7.5 hours of driving on the freeway yesterday with a trailer and a vehicle hooked up behind it. So this thing got pretty hot. We were already right at the line due for an oil change. So today we're just going to do the oil change and be done with it. So this is expensive. If you take it in, it's even more expensive. So it's cheaper to do by yourself if you can buy the oil, if you can find the oil. So I want to show you what I'm doing. All right, so depending on what time of the year you're watching this is the year 2022. This stuff is expensive right now. Look at all this oil. I mean, I got gold mine in here. So today I'm using AMSOIL diesel 15W40. I'm also going to use a quart of this hotshots stiction eliminator. Full disclosure, AMSOIL tells you not to use any additives with their oil, just so you know that. That said, I'm using a quart of hotshots secret stiction eliminator and then I'm going to use 14 quarts of oil. These are gallon sized jugs, got a couple extra quarts there, and of course that. In addition to that, we're also going to be using our oil filter, and I also have a fuel filter here, but we're not actually due, so that can just stay back here for now. So oil filters, oil, stuff you're not supposed to use, and that's what we're doing. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so I have a 4-inch lift kit on this truck. Even if you don't, you can typically slide under without a problem. Because I have a 4-inch lift kit, I don't even have a problem. So I'm just gonna leave this thing on the ground, which you can too. And we're gonna find a couple things before we go under. So I have an aftermarket oil bypass cleaning system from the previous owner. This runs into what we're calling the oil cap. So yours will probably look different. If not, it doesn't matter. We're just gonna grab this and spin this sucker off. It's a huge pain in the ass with this hose and the pipe and everything else. I can't get my fingers around it. So I'm gonna spin that off. Yours probably looks like a regular old oil cap, give or take. That's gonna come off. The other thing that's gonna come off is this is where your oil filter resides. We're gonna do this after we pull the drain plug. While the oil's draining downstairs, we'll come up and we'll take care of upstairs. But that's what you're looking at. And of course, here's your engine oil. So to note, just popped into my head, we are using this AMSOIL 15W40. I believe the truck actually calls for 1030 or 1530, I think. I've been running the 40 and I haven't had a problem, so I'm not too worried about it. Come winter time up here in South Dakota, I'll probably change the oil again and put some thinner stuff in there. But for today, it's July, we're putting in 1540. Next thing we're gonna grab is our drain pan. Oh, I can barely reach. Make sure this is big enough to hold 15 quarts. Put that down there. Come over here, grab our adjustable, and I think we're ready to go down under. All right, so we are under the truck. Here's your front drive shaft. Just to the passenger side of that front drive shaft behind the axle, you're gonna see this big black box. This big black box is holding all of your oil, which should be nice and warm if you warmed up the truck, which mine is not as warm as I thought it'd be, but still warm. So on the bottom of it, we have a plug. That plug is coming out. Make sure your drain pan is underneath. I'm not gonna say what size this is because I don't know. Mine is an aftermarket Mishimoto. And how about instead of telling you what size yours is, I just link this one down below in the description. But before you look there, make sure you hit the thumbs up. I'm upside down. Hit the thumbs up hit the subscribe button and check out my other videos. And then check out this link, buy this plug and whatever else I link down there. Super helpful. So we're gonna grab this. I always have to do a visual. This is how I'm gonna tighten it. So I'm gonna loosen it the other way. There she goes. This can get messy, so be ready with some blue paper towels. I'll link those below too. I'm just holding my thumb on, or my finger on the bolt as I loosen it. That way it doesn't drop in the pan and I can never find it again without getting messy. Once the threads are out, I will hopefully just make a short mess like that. We're gonna make sure that our crush washer came with the plug, which it did. That's this copper thing right here. Yours might be white, black, rubber, well, I don't care what color. This one has a little magnet on it, which is why I like it. And we're gonna check that. It doesn't have anything on it, which is gorgeous. Now that's gonna drain. All right, so while that dribbles, this is gonna start dripping, and it's gonna drip for quite some time. You can also see I have a dent on the bottom of my drain pan. I might replace that out. Let me know if you wanna see that as a video someday. In the meantime, let's go upstairs and start working on the upstairs portion. All right, so as mentioned, this is your oil fill, or your crankcase thing. There we go. Just gonna unscrew this. I'm gonna pick it up and just set it aside somewhere out of the way. Grab a paper towel to put on top of it if you're worried about it leaking. I'm gonna try not to unplug this vacuum actuator thing. In fact, yeah, let me get a paper towel for that. So now I got a paper towel to set this on so it doesn't leak everywhere and then burn up later. And then we're gonna get our adjustable wrench to take this guy off as well. All right, we're gonna grab a drain pan, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm just gonna put that right there, not on top of the battery terminals, but next to them. All right, so this is where our filters reside. This same thing, oh no, that adjustable is not adjustable enough. So this, potentially, if this swivel fitting doesn't swivel, and it doesn't feel like it's going to, I might have to grab a second one and pull that off first. Nope, not going to. So hold on. I kind of want to get rid of this system because it's such a pain in the butt to change oil. But I'm only changing oil like twice a year lately, so it's actually not a huge deal. All right, so now that's loosened, we can go ahead and finish loosening this. We're unscrewing this slow because there's oil on the threads that is pulling up. I'm trying not to let it overflow. So as I unspin it, the oil drops back down. Just trying to stay somewhat clean if I can. Because when things start burning off later, I get scared something's wrong. Okay, now we're gonna get our oil pan over here. We're gonna go ahead and take this off the rest of the way. I forgot. This is only like the third time I've changed oil in this truck. Don't forget to put that back on or you'll have a bad day. Okay, so just gonna pull this straight up and put it in our pan here. And we're done with that for the moment. All right, so as far as the oil filter goes, we got our new filter from Motorcraft. Of course, I will link this down below. This comes with your new filter. It also comes with a new O-ring, which is this one. So what I like to do, keeping in mind this is only the third time I've done this, is just pop the filter off. It just kind of pops off. Whee! Be prepared for that. So then I grab a small flathead screwdriver. I'm just gonna snag this O-ring. Snag's a bad word actually, but you know. I'm gonna grab this O-ring and flip it off. Keep in mind, you gotta pay attention if it's in the top or the bottom slot for the O-ring. Mine is in the top. Doesn't mean that's where it's supposed to be. Just means the last person to do this before me put it in the top. And I've kept with the top ever since. I don't know, maybe it's supposed to go in this lower one, maybe it's not. Alright, so our new O-ring, oil filter cap O-ring, whatever you want to call it. It comes with the new filter if you buy the Ford filter. We're just going to slide this on here. You're going to do everything you can to make sure that you do not rip or nick this. A lot of people put oil on there before this goes in. I don't. I haven't had a problem. I don't even really coat it afterwards because this gets so coated in oil going on the cap. Like I said, I'm putting this in this top ring. for reasoning, no other than that's where it was when I bought the thing. This thing's got 260, 70, some 80,000, I think it's 280,000 miles on it. It's had a lot of oil changes before me, so I'm just hoping somebody along the way knew what they were doing. So I actually have some paint cracking off here. That's less than good, so I might have to replace this anyway at some point. Alright, so then you're going to grab your new oil filter. It comes with these clips. It slides inside this tube right here. Not really tube, just indent in the cap. And you have to slam it on. Once you do, these ridge lines will hold it in place. So you just get it in place and then boop, pops on, and you are in. That's really all there is to the filter portion. So now we can go put that back on. Alright, so then this is just going to sit on top of the spring. Shove her down and thread her in place. I don't know what the torque specs are on this. I'm going to guess about 30, 27, 25. Make sure your O-ring is coated in oil. Ours is coated from being removed. So I'm good on that note. And I'm just going to tighten it until it sits in place. I think I am going to replace this cap here soon because it's just not looking the greatest anymore. Alright. So we're going to go until she stops, which is right there. There's no reason to go all Chuck Norris on her, so I'm just going to leave her right there. We're going to put our bypass oil filter system back on. Oh. We're going to try not to twist or bend that fitting either. So right there, we're done with the filter. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our oil drain plug. I'm going to try and get this crush washer off. Well, that one was really easy to come off. I don't like to reuse these. The reason they're called crush washers is because you crush it and it creates a sealed surface. So once you crush it once, it just doesn't seal the same. A lot of people reuse them without issue. I just don't like to, so I'm going to put a new one on right there. Okay, I'm going to put that in the trash. Speaking of trash, now that I got this fancy oil drain pan, we're going to take this here. We're going to throw the O-ring in the trash, and we're going to put this up here to drain for the next couple days. And we're going to put this upside down to keep the dust out and drain for a couple days. So now we are at a point where we're just going to wait until that's done dribbling. And it's barely dribbling. So we're going to give that 5 minutes while I go use the facilities. When we come back, we will plug that and fill her up. All right, so now that we're done dripping, we're going to grab our oil plug. Oh, and go back under the truck. So we're still dripping like a drip, drip, drip. That'll go on for months, so we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to stick our plug in here, start threading her up. And we brought a towel down here. Where'd the towel go? There it is. Because I just got some oil on my hands. Clean this up real quick. Torque specs, don't know, probably 20, I'm just going to spit out a number, 22 foot-pounds. We're just going to go until we feel the crush washer crush, which is right there. Grab any little residual oil. And we're golden. Now we're going to get this out of here before we forget about it, and we're moving on. Okay, do this without spillering. Put that right there until we pick it up. Okay, grab some towels, because now we're going to start filling her back up. All right, now the fun part, filling it back up. So we got our crankcase filler port right here. We're just gonna dump a funnel in, make sure it's somewhat solid. And then I believe last time we did this, we got about 14 quarts in before it was full. I'm going to do this here real quick. I'm gonna look at this, and I wanna make note of where this oil level is, which is right above the 9-liter portion. And I wanna dump this in. You're gonna see why I made note of that here momentarily. So that's 1 quart down. Now we're gonna grab a gallon, which is 4 quarts for you Canadian people watching. Make sure when you pop holes in these seals and these wrappers that you don't get any wrapper material in the bottle, because that could make for a bad day. All right, so now I wanna pour in a gallon. Okay, so there's a gallon. So that equates to 5 quarts for those of you counting. put a lid on that. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our empty quart size bottle and we're gonna take our hotshots stiction eliminator, which I will link down below, of course. All right, so we looked at this oil earlier. It was considered a quart at 9 liters. So now we're gonna fill in our hotshots until we're at 9 liters, or 0.9, whatever that is. Okay, once we pour a little bit in, I wanna take this out and shake the heck out of it. Don't know if you're supposed to or not, because I didn't read it. Dump it in. I'm gonna get to right about there. I'll put this back in the cabinet for the next oil change. So now this can go back over here in the crankcase, and I'll pour this in here. Okay, for those of you counting, that is now 6 quarts of fluid. Pop a hole in the top again. Do whatever you have to do to not get this wrapper in your oil, because bad days would be had by you. And this goes in. All right, so we did 1 quart, then we did a gallon, then we did a quarter hot shots, which is 6, then we did another gallon, which is 10. So once this goes in, that'll equate to 14 quarts. All right, so you're gonna wanna check your dipstick before you start running a camper behind this thing. On these things, I would recommend checking the dipstick on a regular basis anyway, because the manual actually calls for 15 quarts, but 15 quarts seems to put me a little bit over full. 14 quarts seems to do the trick. So I'm gonna go 14 quarts, turn it on, let all the oil cycle through, and then we'll check the dipstick and verify that we're good to go. Okay, we're just gonna crank this down. One-handed, make sure that your vacuum line didn't come off back here because it's kind of in the way. That's on. This is all on. That's on, filter's in. Dipstick down below is good. So let's check for, turn her on, check for leaks. Turn her on and fire up. All right, so we don't have any oil leaking here. Good. Nothing leaking on the filter. It's good. Now we'll go down here. Make sure the dipstick's in. Good. All right, guys, aside from responsibly disposing of your engine oil, which I take mine to my local auto parts store, that's it, that's done. Now you're going to, after you've let this run for a while, let it sit for a while, pull your dipstick, verify your fluid level. If you need to add a little more, not a big deal. If you need to take some out, just pop that drain plug, let some drain out, and put the drain plug back in. Like I said, if you start at 14, I'm going to imagine you should be all right. That's kind of where I land. So again, AMSOIL, if you're using AMSOIL oil, says not to use any additional additive. I am, so that's on me. It's on you if you do it too. The way I did this is on me. So if you do it, it's on you too. That said, this thing's got 200 and coming up on 80,000 miles, and it's doing just fine. Granted, I've only had it the last 10,000, but still, it's doing good. So thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, check out my other videos. I've got a whole playlist dedicated to the F250, and it's not just this F250, it's also the V10 and the 6.0 together. I got plenty of other videos. Right now we've got like 170 some on the channel. Check them out. Thanks for watching. Check out the links below. We'll see you next time.